Welcome back to the podcast that Lasercorn and I decided to start to do. What's it called, buddy? Squirrel Punch! Man, we've been trying to get things to be called Squirrel Punch for ages, and we decided just to, start our own little mini show here where Lasercorn and I talk about the things that we want to talk about, like movies and TV shows and superheroes and stuff that we're watching that no one else really cares about when we're talking in a group.
Yeah, I mean, people in general care about these shows and movies. I mean, we talk about Marvel stuff. Everyone cares about that, but
whenever we do, so Inky and Mari's eyes just kind of gloss over, and they're like, are you guys done yet? We're like, no. Have you not seen the finale yet?
We usually see stuff before them as well. They're not always up on it.
We are on top of it.
We're up on it. And speaking of what we're up on, we have both finished Moon Knight.
We have finished Moon Knight. Now, I know a lot of you are like, but Doctor Strange just came out. Why aren't you talking about that?
Well, because Joven had a baby and he cannot escape to go see Doctor Strange. I have plans to see it in about 2 hours.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Don't look any billboards on the way down. You don't want to have it spoiled for you.
That's true.
I think we're going to try to sneak away to see Doctor Strange on Monday. We're going to get a little afternoon screening after the baby's had its feeding, so it's down for a 3-hour boob coma, and then we'll be able to sneak away to watch it.
Boob coma. Never heard that term before.
The old boob coma. We're
going
to talk about the Moon Knight finale today,
right?
And then we will talk about Doctor Strange maybe on the next Squirrel Punch. I would also like to thank today's sponsor. Lasercorn, did you know that we had a sponsor for this episode?
No.
No, you're like, what? I want to get paid. No, today's sponsor is Lasercorn Industries. I got a new mic.
Oh, yeah.
Because of Lasercorn.
You're
so
welcome.
Now it sounds better.
Yeah, he sounds a little better, hopefully. We'll see on the recording.
We'll find out.
But yeah, he's now at least he's got the same mic as me, so at least our audio will be consistent, if nothing else.
Yes. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
All right, so should we jump into some spoiler-filled Moon Knight conversations?
Yes, if you have not seen Moon Knight, I guess go watch it and then come back and listen to this.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
Do that thing.
Yeah. What'd you think of it overall?
Phase 4, we are now in this place of Marvel, history that I don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who White Vision is. I don't know much about Kate Bishop, and I don't know anything about Moon Knight. I just know that people like him because he's cool.
Yeah.
So
mainly I see memes about him online where he's trying to talk to Dracula and stuff. Dracula, you big nerd, come out here.
Which I've been told that maybe that's not the actual comic. That's photoshopped.
Since we don't know, I know there's definitely a photoshopped one where he goes random go.
And that's my favorite one.
Yeah,
that's the character I thought I was walking into with this show.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he actually is Dracula's nemesis. Someone in the comments will have to let us know.
So this is definitely the first one, beginning to end, I had no expectations. I didn't know what to expect from the character. I didn't know what kind of bad guys we were going to get. I got nothing. It was also, not only that, but it's the first MCU character to get a TV show that is, from scratch.
Right. They weren't in any of the movies or anything.
Yeah, so they had to spend 6 episodes establishing and doing a beginning, middle, and end. And so walking into the show, I didn't necessarily have any expectations. I was just curious to see how they were going to do a fresh start for a TV show. What were your expectations going into this? Yeah,
I had none. Like you, I have not read the source material, the comic book, so I'm just man, I wonder what this is going to be. I didn't have any expectations, but I'm oh, maybe he'll fight Dracula, because my only knowledge of this guy is from the meme, and that would be
from
cool.
The one meme. I do like Oscar Isaac a lot.
Yeah,
and so I was
love
excited
Oscar
to see him casted.
Yeah.
I think that he did a phenomenal job for a character that apparently has split a DIT. That's a thing I've heard for the first time.
DID. Dissociative identity disorder, or multiple
DIT
personality.
is someone that transfers footage and organizes the footage after a shoot in production.
Yeah. Yes.
2 different things.
So it's kind of like the Fight Club thing where, two people inhabiting the same body. And, at the beginning we're at odds, much like Fight Club.
Yeah. And they did it well. I thought Oscar Isaac did really well. The first episode kept me confused, which I think was good. Mm-hmm. They're jumping back and forth, and that was fun. I liked that. Right? That was the first episode with the cupcake truck. Was that the first episode? Yeah. Right. With some very strong hints towards Doctor Doom, apparently.
Oh, really? I missed that. Tell me Tell me about Doctor Doom.
One of the boxes in that truck had so in that cupcake truck, there is apparently a box that says, like, it's covered up a little bit, but it looks like V Doom on there. And then there were some images comparing Castle Latveria to the castle that Steven sees when he like wakes up in that European country. He looks up and he waves at the guard. Possible like early Latveria kind of thing, because the area could line up a bit, random European country.
That's cool.
Of course, with absolutely no payoff later on, so whatever.
Yeah, it would have been cool if Doctor Doom showed up. This one was very detached from the rest of the Marvel universe.
And
go ahead.
Go for it.
Well, I was going to say, Paco sent us a note that there was supposed to be a scene of Khonshu fighting alongside the Eternals to seal away Amit, which would have been cool and would have been a way to tie it into the rest of the Marvel universe. But that
it would have made us, like, it would have given us a reason to have seen Eternals.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be cool, but I don't really care about the Eternals, so I don't really mind that it got cut that much.
But it also goes to show you like how much you don't need that when you have good storytelling. It's just like, hey, this god is bad. They locked him away. Okay, thanks for the information. What was being reported on why it was taken out, that's the funny part. It's not like, oh, people didn't like Eternals, let's not put them in the show. It's because they would have had to use the show's budget in order to have that scene and all those cameos, and it would have actually taken away from the budget from the finale. So they're like, we don't need it.
And the finale was good. I liked that there were two giant gods fighting. I did have a few problems. When Amit is growing, you can see her kind of like feeding on souls, it almost looked like the souls were going into her, which I'm like, well, doesn't she send the souls down to the underworld? Why are they going into her now? Or is that like a power she has?
Maybe they're sacrificed to her? Well, because once they go to the afterlife, that's when she judges them. So she's just cutting out the middleman of life.
I thought she judges them and then sends the ones that she judges to be bad into the sands, the Duat or whatever.
Well, so she does it differently. I don't think everyone goes to the sands. I think you're supposed to go
everyone.
to the sands.
But that's what I'm saying. The judgment comes first. The judgment happens, and then you go to the sand if you get judged.
Oh my God, who's the dog Egyptian god Anubis? I think he's the one that's supposed to do like the heart and the feather thing. So I think other gods do the scales. I don't know okay. I don't know if it's me just not knowing the source material, me not knowing ancient Egyptian theology, or just not having enough explained to me, but yeah, that is confusing, right? Like how does it work?
So anyway, it looked like she was eating the souls and getting bigger, and I'm like, oh man, I guess Khonshu's fucked because she can eat souls and become much bigger. But then Khonshu was just giant too, and I'm like, oh, okay, giant god battle. I guess I won't think too much about the whole soul-eating aspects. Thought that was going to be a thing.
It was neat to have that, like, you've got the villain and the hero fighting in the foreground and the background. There's just like this giant fight. I do want to say that Ammit looked really, really good. Like when she's there talking to them, like when they're in the pyramid, it almost blew me away that Moon Knight is able to make a talking alligator look more realistic than the Mandalorian could make Luke Skywalker look realistic. Anywho, I thought the alligator looked phenomenal. Did you have any other issues?
Yeah, I did. So let me see. Oh yeah, so I was very confused about the ending. So they go back to the asylum, but I thought the asylum wasn't a real place. Like the first time they go to the asylum, it's kind of like an extension of the underworld. It's like this is what your mind is projecting, what you see as the underworld, and then they go and they're on the ship. And I'm like, okay, so the asylum is it's not a real literal place. It's a projection.
So I figured it out. I had to do a little bit of research, and I did figure it out. They kind of make it a little confusing in the show. Again, these are two people talking right now that have not read the source material.
Right.
So it wasn't conveyed well enough. Apparently, that hospital is a thing from the comics. That's Mark Spector's little limbo. He's made up that safe space, and that's where he goes to figure things out. And so apparently how they shot the office in there, like the whatever his name's office,
Harrow,
is they only show very little of it at a time. So as Mark starts to get more of an understanding of things around him, they start to open up and widen the shots in that area. So you start to see like these connections from, the real world in this place. So it's not part of the underworld. It's just like his little limbo in his mind.
Okay, so before that, when Harrow's behind the desk and he just like pieces out and he's like, I'm gonna go save the world. Is Harrow really in there with him?
No.
Or he's just talking to a hallucination that's bleeding from the foot?
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, he's talking to the bad guy to figure it out.
And then he pieces out to be like, I'm gonna go save the world. But he also quit being the Avatar, so he's like he's just planning to go.
He's just gonna go back to save the world once. There's Avengers fighting somewhere else in the world.
What do you mean save the world once?
Well,
No, he's like I'm gonna go back to saving. Like, I forget what the exact line was, but the kind of implication was that he was going to go back to like fighting crime and stuff or threats. And then
not after. Yeah, there was at the hospital scene, and then it went and they did the whole thing in Cairo, right? That didn't happen after Cairo.
He says, I'm going to go save the world, and then I don't feel like he does anything after that. And the song's playing, every day I wake up, and we don't see any more fighting, and then it's roll credits. So literally nothing happens after that. He's like, I'm going to go save the world, but he gave up his powers. So how's he going to save the world? What I'd rather go save the world is definitely in
That's
Steven's
Steven,
voice.
because that's the British accent.
What the fuck is he talking about? Because
I don't know.
And Mark made a deal to be released.
That is very confusing.
Is he planning to save the world just sans costume, or with a costume that's just not magical?
Maybe. No, I don't know. There's a lot that this show kind of made.
Or is
confusing.
that a flashback? Or is that happening in his mind before the final fight happens?
That'd be a weird Yeah, because like he fights him and then goes back to see that. Yeah, that seems like it was a little out of order.
Yeah,
I'm curious on
why I texted
what they had
you
to
last
change.
night.
Maybe
I'm so confused. That's what I was texting you. I'm all confused about.
Because I do know that there was stuff changed in production. For example, so the girl,
Layla?
What's her name?
Layla?
Yeah, her armor that she gets is based on as if she was Isis's
Avatar.
Avatar.
If she was Isis's avatar?
Not the hippo. Because like Isis has a very specific design. You see it in all of the different like Egyptian art. She's got the long golden wings and everything. Versus the hippo that we saw does not.
Yeah, the Avatar costume did not match what I was expecting for the hippo.
I think in an interview, the director had said something along the lines of, it not making sense story-wise because like Isis was captured, like with a bunch of those other gods. I'm pretty sure it's the name, but they do mention, mention when they mention Isis, the actual pronunciation of Isis's name is like Isus. So, and that's what they call her earlier in the show. So I don't know why. The thing that actually bugged me about her armor and her abilities is that Miss Marvel, who has their show coming out, later on, her abilities were changed because she's supposed to have like the whole embiggen thing. Her abilities were changed because they didn't want her to be too much like Mr. Fantastic.
And
here we are having
exactly like Falcon.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
But it would be cool to see a Falcon Layla team up though, wouldn't it?
Well, first off, I just love that actor who plays Falcon and want to see him team up with everyone. Anthony Mackie is a phenomenal actor. He's hilarious. I did think it was funny. Speaking of her armor and what she can do with it, she gets like pinned up there in that final fight, and it seems like it's gonna get really bad for old Moon Knight there, and then he wargs out again, and then knocks everyone out, and then we cut back, and there's Layla, and she goes swipe, cuts off the thing that was holding her in place, and it's like, Mark, what just happened? Like, I feel like you shouldn't have been stuck there 30 seconds ago, and you could have been helping.
Yeah, there's some wackiness, and then the guys that shoot at her, but then shoot directly at her armored wings with her legs
which
exposed
covers
and her head exposed.
A third of her body. Like, at least when Falcon does it, like, the wings expand into the ground. It kind of makes this cone of protection. Just like if you're shooting, just go, you know, it was up close, too. Just go, or maybe a little down here.
Yeah, the more I think about it, a hippo costume would have been way more unique with, like, hippo powers. Like, she can gore
just be
people.
Like bull aggression. Yeah, just like super strong, a lot of forward momentum, can swim super fast.
Maybe her mask is huge and it like has these giant teeth in it. And
that's
gore you,
what it
or
was.
it can like expand. Yeah, that's how they kill you.
And just
they
like
just mash you.
down.
They don't even eat you because they're vegetarians, but they just mash you so much in their giant teeth that you die.
So according to the director, the reason that they switched it from Isis to the hippo god was because they think it's a lot funnier to have, and better character development, to have opposites working with each other. So you want to have like this, you know, high-pitched, happy-go-lucky hippo god paired up with Layla, who's normally a serious person. Whereas Isis, the god, is very serious and, you know, more straightforward and to the point, more like a Khonshu almost. And so having that kind of Isis character with Layla would have been too much of the same thing.
Right.
I don't believe that. I don't think that's necessarily true.
But they still should have. Well, yeah, they still should have gone with a hippo costume then. It would have been cooler. Except this character exists in the comics, right? So they probably had to stay true to that.
Apparently, the avatars are new to the show, I think. Yeah. Again, what I was reading, according to Reddit, and everything you read on Reddit is true. So, yeah.
I gotta say, overall, it didn't really suck me in. Like, I'm not, like, excited to see what's next for this character.
Agreed.
Unless he fights Dracula.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm going to blow your mind a little bit, and you're going to get so upset that this didn't happen. This starts off in London and ends in London. Mm-hmm. Who, canonically in the timeline right now, are the only two other characters in London?
I have no idea.
Blade and Black Knight from the end of Eternals.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I really, really would have wanted to see them to show up. It's like, hey, we're putting together this team. What's it called? Midnight Suns. Then again, like, I don't know if there's
Midnight
something.
Suns, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything in Doctor Strange. Like, I don't know if there's a post-credit scene that has, you know, Blade and Black Knight show up. I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. But I think it would have really worked here. It would have made a lot more sense. And again, they were all kind of like, they're off in London. So you've got your East Coast Avengers, you've got your London Avengers. I would have enjoyed it, a nice little bit there at the end. Because the twist of having Khonshu still attached to the third personality is interesting. That is cool. But then starts to open up like these weird questions about, like, throughout the whole series, when he wargs out and then goes and like kills a bunch of people. Was that not Mark who did that? Because sometimes they got a bit on the brutal side.
No, it was always the third personality. What's his name?
So then, Jake? I think Jake?
Yeah.
Or Johnny Beat 'em Up? One of those two?
Johnny Beat 'em Up. Yeah, that's him. So anytime neither one can remember what happened, that's Jake. Because Jake
in that case,
doesn't communicate with the other two.
And at the end, in that last fight, we got that cool moment. It's like, was that you? No, was that you? So that's like, oh, there's a third one.
But I knew that before I figured that's what was going on from the first time he blacked out. And then it was kind of confirmed even before that when you see the third sarcophagus.
Third esophagus, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, he breaks Steven out of one. And
so if there was this third personality that was popping out the last second to kind of save them from dying each time, then wouldn't have Mark known? It's like, oh, wait a second. I didn't kill all these people, and that stupid one sure didn't kill all these people. How'd they all die?
Yeah, it's very strange, but I feel like Mark might have created Steven, kind of been aware of his creation of Steven, whereas with Jake, he just has no idea that he even created a third personality.
It's almost like it was kind of implied in that flashback scene that as he changes to Steven for the first time as a kid, and right before he gets hit, doesn't, like, I don't know, I felt like it switched to a third one right before he got hit. I could be wrong. That's what I got from that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that by having Marvel do these warg out scenes, it looks cool. It adds some questionable stuff there in the first episode to make you go like, oh, what's going on? But after that, I think it's just their way of like censoring themselves. It's like, look how brutal we can get.
It's so
but
brutal we
didn't.
can't even show you. This character's so badass we can't even show you. And then yeah, so I was reading. I think the translation, and this was just a Reddit post, so it's not like verified. I didn't like type it into Google Translate. But the translation for when he kills Harrow at the end is, "I'll do it myself," which is a nice little Thanos callback.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Maybe he's the new big bad. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see this character go like villain.
A season 2 would be neat, because then maybe it's like that internal fight of like, you know, the other two trying to like break out to stop it from happening. There's a lot of things that can happen, I guess.
Yeah, he'll probably end up being like an anti-hero.
As a whole, are you glad you watched it, or how do you feel about it? As like, we've talked a lot about the pilot episode, or sorry, the final episode.
I did like seeing the gods fight, and the first episode, before Khonshu kind of revealed himself and he was like spooky in the shadows and with the bird head and everything, it was very cool. It felt like a very different vibe than all the other Marvel stuff I've watched. But once I knew he was just like, he wasn't really a threat. He was just kind of on Mark and Steven's side and like was their avatar. Like when you get familiar with a character, no matter how spooky he is, and they were doing like jokes with him, like, you know, break his windpipe and stuff where he's stands up and it's like, you don't have to listen to him. They kind of removed the spooky factor from that character.
Yeah, they have that Marvel wit and comedy, so it almost like, you know, neuters the character a little bit.
Yeah, so the bookends were cool is what I would say. I liked the first episode with the spooky Khonshu character, and I liked the last episode with the giant kaiju god fight. Everything in between,
Normally in a superhero show, like look at all the Netflix Marvel shows, look at the other Marvel stuff that we've got on Disney Plus. You have these situations where you don't get like the superhero outfit until the very last scene, essentially. Daredevil didn't get his Daredevil outfit until he went to go fight Kingpin. We don't see Scarlet Witch in her new Scarlet Witch outfit until the last episode. Even Hawkeye gets like a more comic book accurate outfit at the last scene. Whereas this one, I thought it was so cool. It's like, great, we get Moon Knight and his outfit up front. We're going to see it. After 2 episodes, it just disappears. It's just gone. And then we get it again the last few minutes of the last episode. So, like, somehow they teased me with the outfit and then took it away, and I got bored in the middle and then brought it back.
There were a couple fight scenes with the outfit.
Yeah, and those were good moments, but as soon as Khonshu that was episode 2 or 3 with like the cool fight where we get the suit, with Mr. Knight, which was dope. But you know, once they lose Khonshu, then it's just like 2 episodes. One of those episodes are just dead. I was like, okay, cool, I'm here for Moon Knight. But yeah, I guess, you know, watching the characters' inner struggle is character development. Ultimately, I think this could have been done in a great 2.5-hour movie.
Yes.
Maybe 2 hours. Whereas Eternals should have probably been a 6-hour TV show.
Yeah, make me care about the characters. Yeah, they really got those two reversed. I agree with that. Eternals needed a series so I could actually gain some attachment to the characters. And this show, you could cut out everything in the middle. It's like, cool, let's do Spooky Khonshu at the beginning of the movie. Okay, now he's on your side. Okay, now giant god fight, and we're out of here in 2.5 hours.
There's some superhero characters where you just want to see them doing the superhero thing, like Deadpool. Yes, we got an origin story in that first Deadpool movie, but it was Deadpool or Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas this was not that, and I get the representation of a DID superhero, great, an Egyptian superhero, fantastic. I don't know, I just wanted more Moon Knight, but now I don't know. Like, am I just seeing this stuff as a overall Marvel fan who wants the boom boom lasers?
No, I don't think so. I think there was some filler in this.
I liked the character development. I liked the characters. I just feel like we could have gotten there faster.
Yeah, I feel like everything doesn't have to be action, but you have to do more to keep me engaged than. And it wasn't even like there was a real like mystery or something to keep me engaged. Like like we talked about in our last episode, we talked about the Batman, and that had a lot of stuff between the action, but I was trying to like figure out what's going on and stuff, and like I was putting a puzzle together in my head. I feel like in this one I figured out like, you know, that there was a third personality pretty fast when he started blanking out, and like, yeah.
And are we going back to the Marvel problem of having boring villains? Like, at least this one wasn't a laser in the sky, but it was just like, all right, we're gonna judge everyone and kill them and feed them to this god. High stakes.
It was a little close to like, Thanos. It's like,
there's a
balance
way
the scales. If you land on one side of the scale, we're gonna
there's a way to do morality and have shades of gray. This was just like, all right, we're gonna kill most of everyone.
It was a little interesting. They did have kind of a almost Minority Report theme going on there. If someone's going to commit a crime in the future, are they still guilty of that crime? That's kind of an interesting concept. Yeah.
Cut out some of that middle and give me more of that.
But yeah, is that enough for Harrow to be a compelling villain?
So instead of giving the show a rating, what is something that you would say is like, watch this show if blank, but also don't watch this show if blank?
Watch this. Okay, you go first, because I've never done this before, so you go.
So the show's character work ultimately was really good, and the fight scenes were great, and probably one of my favorite superhero outfits in the MCU so far. But don't watch the show if you want it, if you're looking for like a fast-paced, you know, every minute something matters. Like, there's a lot of downtime that you just don't need. It could have been a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Watching it week to week was not fun. I think watching it episode 1 to episode 6 in a day, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I would say don't watch this if you're burnt out on Marvel. This is not what's going to reinvigorate your love for Marvel stuff.
This is more homework.
Yeah.
It is more homework.
Like, Mari hasn't watched a Marvel thing in a while. We talked to her a little bit about this. She hasn't watched anything Marvel in a while. She hasn't even seen the new Spider-Man. If I were to recommend a thing to get her back into Marvel, I'd be like, oh, see the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The newest Spider-Man movie.
Probably Doctor Strange.
No Way Home. Yeah, Doctor Strange if it's good. But I wouldn't be like, see the Eternals or Moon Knight, because that's...
Yeah.
It's not going to spark, reinvigorate your love of Marvel. But do watch it if you're a fan of the original character, if you want to see a really cool costume, if you want to see some great acting, if you love Oscar Isaac, which who doesn't? You know, he does a great job in it. So there's a lot of reasons to watch it, but, you know.
So that is our, you know, long-winded opinion and thought of the Moon Knight finale and the show as a whole.
Paco, we're sorry.
Not bad, but
that was a lot of us talking.
Not the greatest thing we've had.
I hope it cuts down. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, producer Paco. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching Squirrel Punch. We're gonna do these, you know, when we can. It's fun for Lasercorn and I to. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like you like doing these too, right?
Yeah, I love these. This is great.
Yeah, Squirrel Punch.
I'm the one who made you do this, even though you're trying to care for a tiny baby.
The baby's. I don't know where the baby is right now. I don't know who's holding the baby.
Go find that baby.
I should probably go check on a baby.
Yeah.
All right. Stick around for probably more Squirrel Punch. Doctor Strange is out. I'm sure we'll go see it.
You need to go see it. All right.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye, everyone.